Markets ripped again today as we close out the month and the first quarter of 2023. So let's jump in, take a look at what's going on. And here we go. So the Dow was up 1.2%, 1.26, S&P up 1.44, NASDAQ up 1.74, and the NASDAQ has the best quarter it has seen since 2020. So not a lot of major headlines to talk about in the markets today, just average month-end, quarter-end options, closeout, things like that. So driving a lot of price action here and nice little bounce. So let's look at the entire month here of March. Started up and then dropped a little bit and basically about back to where it was on the Dow at the beginning of the month. The NASDAQ up, month over month, showing the best out of all three indexes as the money went into tech stocks with the narrative that the Fed is going to begin reducing rates, cutting rates before the end of the year. The S&P did recover and break those levels where the month opened up at, and finished the month a little bit ahead of where it opened. And let's take a look at the VIX. So the VIX is back down to these dangerous levels. Whenever the VIX gets down to these 17, 18 levels, we generally see a spike. The question is, how far is it going to spike? And we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. One headline that did come out today was the Fed's preferred inflation index that they looked at came in a little bit softer than expected, but yet still high. Obviously, the personal consumption expenditures price index came in 0.3 instead of 0.4. So that was expected. So not, great news on the inflation front, still ammunition for the Fed to hike again, as one of the Fed members came out and said the other day. The 2-year treasury down a little bit off of this latest bump, and the 10-year kind of reversing action here again, hanging out in this range. So a little bit of, uncertainty out there in terms of that inflation number. So we'll see as we get, more jobs numbers out next week and things like that, what the job market looks like. As long as inflation is high, the job market is strong, the Fed's going to keep hiking and keep rates higher. But what the markets are betting on, and the reason there's a flight into that tech stock, into tech, is because the markets are pricing in the Fed cutting rates before the end of the year and stimulating the economy again due to a potential recession. So really interesting that the markets are bullish on the fact that the Fed's going to have to cut rates because of a recession, because if we're looking at a recession, it means that earnings are down, job unemployment is up, and things like that. But the question is, can the Fed really damage the employment, the jobs market, when they haven't been able to have much of an effect? We've had some layoffs here and there, but not millions. We've had hundreds of thousands of layoffs, but not millions, which is what it takes to really change that unemployment rate. So we'll have to continue to watch that. Bitcoin's still hanging out, not quite be able to break that 30,000 level. Came close a couple times. Weekends can be tricky. So we might see Bitcoin pop up and break 30,000 over the weekend, or you could see it completely reverse back down to 19. You just really never know what's going to happen here on the weekends. But right now, the markets are bullish. They're pricing in rate cuts. So you have to expect Bitcoin to continue to test that $30,000 level. XRP reversing off of this little bounce here and consolidating, kind of like Bitcoin. And again, the interesting thing about price action is Bitcoin and gold kind of having some similarities there, hanging out and consolidating in these upper ranges. We'll take a look at some other altcoins. Cardano making a move here, getting a little bit of bounce, going back to test that upper level. Solana, Matic, DOT. Rest of the altcoins just kind of hanging out. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is in a range since basically May of 2021. It's been in this range here, almost a parallel channel. If you look at it, let's go ahead and put one of those on there and see how close that is from here. Let's draw this out a little bit, this parallel channel. Let's bring this out here. Pretty close, not an exact perfect parallel channel, but every time it touches the tops and bottoms of these ranges, it reverses, and you can see it's hitting pretty much right on the top of that, almost to the top of that parallel channel range that it's been in. So the question is, will the dominance reverse, drop back down? which obviously means Bitcoin is dropping in price, and altcoins can potentially run after Bitcoin a little bit, since Bitcoin has had this 30 or 73% run since the bottom of September up to where it's at now. Altcoins have not participated in that. When you look at the total two, well, let's just look at total three. Altcoins have not seen as big of a bounce. Let's see what that looks like. If you look at that total three, yeah, about 34%. So a little bit of room to run for the altcoins. The question is, will they follow Bitcoin when Bitcoin runs out of steam? So we'll just have to sit by and watch that happen. So right now, what we're looking at is inflation watch, job watch, and the narrative of the Fed cutting rates by the end of the year or before the end of the year due to some sort of a systemic issue or recession. So that's what markets are pricing and betting on right now. Options expiry today for the end of the month and the quarter. So we'll see what next week looks like and see if we can continue on these gains or if the market's going to give it up. So I will see you on the next video.